going. Today we're talking about why do some people think blue is for boys and also pink is for girls. I've got my little onesies here. They were quite sweet. Sorry about the traffic, by the way. It's a bit noisy. Okay. Let's do a little bit of history. A little bit of history. Okay. So, we're going to start in the 1700s. Okay. Now, in the 1700s, they wanted babies in white. They wanted babies in white because it's easy to clean, because you can just bleach it. And they didn't have gendered colours yet. No one had said, like, oh, this is for this person or this is for this person. So they were just all in white. So, in the 1700s, the babies, they were in white. They were in white, and they were mostly in white dresses. Why do you think that might have been? Why do you think they were in dresses? What do you have to do a lot of with babies? Change their nappies. And dresses makes it super easy to do that. So there were lots of them. Can I draw a dress? We try. It's kind of like a t-shirt. That's terrible. They were all in dresses anyway, and they were mostly in white. Okay, then in the 1800s, pastel colours became popular, gentle colours, soft colours, but it depended on the family. There were no set rules. I've got these cool pastel highlighters that somebody bought me when I was doing my teaching degree. I don't know if you can see them. That's the thing about pastels. They're quite gentle. Okay. I'll do one of all the colours, shall I? Might help us remember. So they're more gentle pastel colours. I actually really like pastels. And I think pastels, what ones have I done, are often used for babies now. See lots of babies in pastels still. See lots of babies in bright colours though. So, hold on, I've got 5 and I've got 4 down here. I haven't got purple yet. There you go. So in the 1800s, we had some pastels. Pastels. Ew. Had a moment there. Okay. Then in the early 1900s, so we're getting closer to now. Not really, but we're travelling towards us. Some British and American magazines started suggesting that pink should be for boys. So we think it's because lots of soldiers wore red, and so it's a close colour. Just add white, don't you? So boys started wearing pink. Maybe I can use my pink pastel. Do you know what? I'm going to use my pink highlighter because I think you'll be able to see it better. Boys started wearing pink because of soldiers. And girls, guess what they were put in? They were put in blue. They were put in blue, it's thought, because the Virgin Mary, or Mary in Christian stories, including the Bible, wore blue. So they put girls in blue. And we have evidence of this. So there was a magazine in 1918 which was called the Earnshaw's Infant Department. It was like a department store in America. And they wrote in their magazine, their department store magazine, that pink was for boys. So there you go. It was written in a magazine. Okay. Now, we're going to jump forward a little bit. What have we done here? 100 years, 100 years, 100 years. We're going to go forward to 40 years. We're going to go to the 1940s. Okay. Now, in the 1940s, we had lots of retailers appearing. Retailers like M&S. See my timeline a bit better now. Retailers like M&S, Marks and Spencer's, and they started promoting colours basically the opposite way around. They decided that pink was for girls. They decided pink was for girls. And they decided blue was for boys. Now, this was actually very clever of them. They actually did this because... I seriously need to invest in a whiteboard that works. Okay. They started to do this because lots of families were dressing their children in the same clothes, regardless of what number child they were. So, where's the traffic? So you had a baby, you bought some clothes for it. You had another baby, they got those clothes handed down. You had another baby, they got those clothes handed down. And so somebody somewhere in a marketing meeting said, how are we going to get people to buy new clothes if they just keep giving the clothes, they keep handing them down? And so somebody said, let's give boys a colour and girls a colour. So that if you had a boy and then you had a girl, you had to buy new clothes. It was a marketing ploy, okay? It was a marketing ploy to get people to spend more money. Okay? Now, I would say this isn't dissimilar from today. I would love to say that we don't have colours matching to genders. However, I went into M&S recently to buy my 10-month-old a onesie, and I would say that there is a big sign saying girls, and it was mostly pink, and a big sign saying boys, and it was mostly blue. There was some white thrown in, maybe some yellow, but mostly pink, blue. So I think we've actually changed much since the 1940s. However, a lot of this is to do with the fact that in the 1950s/60s, after World War II, people really pushed strong traditional roles. Okay, a lot of this was to do with the fact that the men had been away at war and the women had filled their jobs, and people were trying to find a social balance. So women were saying, look at all of the things we did while you were away, can we please carry on doing them? And the men were saying, I've been away and now I'm back. So it became quite binary. Binary means like two things. Like a bicycle has two wheels. And so it was very much like, these are men jobs, these are boy jobs, these are girl jobs, or women jobs, female jobs. And that was the 60s and the 50s and the 60s, it became quite binary. Okay, so it carried on. Until the 70s, when there was a bit of a rebellion. Let's see if I can get my feet to go up more. Okay. Let's go down here to the 1970s. Okay. We get some rebellion here. I'm going to write rebellion. Rebellion! Okay. Lots of people were fed up. Let's wait for the traffic to go past. Lots of people were fed up with the binary split with men and women and girls and boys and colours and all sorts of things. Okay? And you got feminism on the rise. Feminism. It's funny how I struggle to spell when I'm teaching, but I don't Well, maybe I do. I don't know. Okay, lots of feminism, lots of people talking about women's rights, lots of women wanting equal rights. Okay, and that influenced how people dressed their children. People didn't want to put their little girls in frilly dresses because they wanted them to be able to do things. They wanted them to be able to climb trees and be as strong and independent as their little boys were. So we got much more gender neutral baby clothing. So you got some yellows and you got some greens. I'm going to do this. What should we do? We'll do it like this. Oh, they're running out. I got some yellows and some... You can't even see that on the camera. Boo. Okay. I've got a yellow in here. I have got a yellow in here. Is it going to work? Is it going to work? Can you see it? Sort of. Okay. You got yellows. You got greens. Oh, look, there's a green here. You can see that's green. Okay. So yes, people were trying to move away from the binary split with pink and blue. And then something happened in the 1980s with technology. People were having babies before. It was a mystery. You didn't know if you were going to get a baby who was a boy or a baby who was a girl. Then the ultrasound became more advanced. And you could find out the gender of your baby before... How do I do an ultrasound? I'm going to do this. It looks like a little scan, doesn't it? My ultrasound lines. Okay, you could find out at the hospital if your baby was going to have a penis or a vulva. Now, there's lots of discussion about whether or not having a penis defines your gender. It doesn't. But we're not going to go into that today, especially with the current political climate. But you could see the anatomy of your baby. From the 1980s, you could see the anatomy of the baby and decide if they were a boy or a girl, or if they were just a baby. And then they might tell you one day if they were a boy or a girl. But it meant that shops marketed even harder to get you to buy pink or blue for your baby, because they were saying things like, when your baby is born, plan ahead, get all the things in that you need, okay? And they were pushing for people to buy things that were pink or blue. Pink and blue, pink and blue, pink and blue, pink and blue. Everybody is obsessed with pink and blue because they want to make money. Made my ultrasound multicolored. That's clever, wasn't it? Okay. I'm going to write ultrasound here. Ultrasound. Okay. Where are we up to? We're basically up to now, she says. We're actually not. It's just because I was born somewhere around here, so I think, that's the beginning of time. Okay. Let's, if there were people online, I'd talk about now, but there isn't, so. Let's do a true or false quiz. Let's do a true or false quiz. Okay. I'm going to get rid of this so you can't cheat. Okay. Question 1. Babies in the 1700s wore dark clothes. True or false? Read it. Yeah. Wore dark clothes. Clothes. It's nice, brother. True or false? Okay, question 2. In the early 1900s, pink was seen as a boy colour. True or false? And my last one is going to be in the 1970s. Parents used neutral colours. True or false? Okay, what do we think? Babies in the 1700s, did they wear dark clothes? No, they didn't. They wore light clothes. They wore white because it was easy to bleach. So this one is false. Okay. In the early 1900s, pink was seen as a boy colour. That one is true. It was. It was for boys. It was for boys in the 1900s. Because it reminded them of soldiers. And in the 1970s, parents used neutral colours. That is true. They started using more neutral colours. It was the rebellion. Feminism was on the rise. If you got 3 out of 3, well done. If you didn't, it doesn't matter. Nobody minds. Okay. Here's a couple of little activities that you could do at home if you wanted to. So, where's my picture? I love this picture. It's a stock image because I'm trying to be good and not mess with anybody's copyright. Copyright? Do I mean that? I think I do. Okay, you see this lovely little human? They have a tutu on and a space outfit on. I think they look awesome. And I am challenging you to create your ultimate outfit. And you're allowed to wear anything you like. I want you to throw out. This is me. There I am. I'm going to have, I'd love to wear bunchies, but I always think that grown-ups shouldn't wear bunchies. But for the purpose of this, I'm going to put bunchies, because I'd love to do that. Okay. And I would like to wear something really outrageous. I'm going to have something with a huge collar. And I do like wearing dresses, but I do find them kind of impractical. So I'm going to go with something with huge sleeves and a huge floaty top like this. Oh, it's kind of vampire-y. My daughter will enjoy that. She loves a vampire. And then I'm going to wear something super comfy. I'm going to wear some like skinny black leggings. They won't get dirty. And they're super comfy. And I can eat lots of food. And I won't be uncomfortable. And what shoes do I like to wear? I like to wear boots actually. Although it's a bit warm for boots at the moment, but I'm going to put some big boots on. There you go. Okay. Now, at the moment I look a bit like a vampire, but my top, there's no way it would be black. I'm going to go for a rainbow. Do you reckon I've got the colours though? Probably not. The restock, don't I? I think I'm going to have to go crazy with my colours. I'm going to go, we're going to go jazzy. Okay, I'm going to go, I love a bright top. It might have splodges on it as well. Splodge. 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 Can you see my splodges? Not really. I'll colour a bit of it so you can see them. This is fun. Do you know what I've forgotten? I've forgotten pockets. It's going to have pockets because I find it really hard to not have pockets. I never know where to put my things. Classic colours. Okay, I'm going to put some pockets in. I'm going to put a pocket here. And a pocket here. Okay. And I probably want to be able to get it on and off easily. So I'm going to put a zip. Does that look
zipper, the chunky zipper.
There we go. Okay, yours will be much better than mine, sure. So that's my activity number 1. If you fancy doing that, design your own outfit. If you want to tag me on Instagram or Facebook, I'd love that. I saw some amazing bee things the other day after we did our bee lesson. And then what else can we do? Oh yes, I've got a little quiz. I've got a little quiz that you could do. Can I use that? The other cool thing you could do if you wanted to is not only create your own outfit, but also create your own world. Because there are quite a lot of things in the world that are a bit gendered when they shouldn't be. So, you know, if you wanted to create a whole world where nothing was gendered, I'd love that. Okay. I did a little quiz, which I think might be quite funny. It's sort of like a personality quiz. It's not like a factual thing. It's a thing I made up, but I just thought it might be fun. So, we've got, which of these colours makes you feel happiest? Bright yellow, cool blue, vibrant red, or calm green? Then we've got, I don't know if you can read this. I might need to bring it a bit closer. I can put photos of it on my Facebook as well, on my Instagram. If you could spend the day doing anything you want, which setting would you choose? In a sunny field full of flowers, by the ocean or a calm lake, at an amusement park riding roller coasters, or hiking in a peaceful forest? 2 more. Okay. Number 3. Which of these words best describes you? Creative, calm, energetic, or peaceful? Which of these activities do you prefer? Painting or drawing? Reading or relaxing? Playing sports or running? Or gardening or walking in nature? I actually lied. There's 5 questions, not 4. Okay. Question number 5 is, how would you describe your ideal day? Full of fun and sunshine, quiet and peaceful, active and exciting, or relaxing and calm? Now you need to write down whether they're A, B, C, or D. So, can we get this to come back round for us? Probably can. Okay. Which of these colours makes you feel happiest? Bright yellow, cool blue, vibrant red, or calm green? I'm going to go for yellow for me, personally. That's A. If you could spend the day doing anything you want, what setting would you choose? I would always choose the ocean. No discussion there. That's B. Which of these words best describes you? Creative, calm, energetic, and peaceful. That's hard. Think creative. I'm going to go with A. Which of these activities do you prefer? Painting or drawing? Reading or relaxing? Playing sports or running? Gardening or walking? I'm going to go with painting and drawing. And then the last one is, how would you describe your ideal day? Full of fun and sunshine, quiet and peaceful, active and exciting, or relaxing and calm? I think I would be quiet and peaceful, which would be B. Okay, so I've got 3 A's and 2 B's for me. And this says, I'll read it out and I'll put it on my Facebook. 3 A's and 2 B's. Or not to be, that is the question. We've got A. That's not an A. B, B. Okay, so if you got mostly A's, your colour is yellow. You're full of creativity, optimism and energy. Yellow represents joy and a bright outlook on life. Let me move these closer for everybody. Like this, there we go. If you got mostly C's, your colour is red. You are passionate, energetic, and love to take action. Red represents energy and excitement. If you got mostly Bs, your colour is blue. You are calm, thoughtful, and like to take things slow. Blue represents tranquility, intelligence, and trust. And if you got mostly Ds, your colour is green. You are peaceful, caring, and love nature. Green represents balance, growth, and harmony. So there you go, my little quiz. You can see I'm in my garage, which is hilarious. It's not quite an office yet. Halfway through being converted. So yeah, that's just a silly fun quiz about colour. I'm yellow, which I really like. But yeah, does colour really belong to any specific person? No. Should anyone be able to wear whatever colour they want? Yes. I think that's the general message that we've worked out here. I think everyone should feel free to enjoy any colour that they love. That's all for today. Thank you for joining me. Please tag and share, and I will see you again for another little live.